Hey everyone, how exciting is it that you get to meet an individual that has been such a long time friend, advocate, badass woman in the community, changing lives. And I look forward to introducing you to Certified Rise Advocate and Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion for the Lucas County Board of Commissioners, Crystal Darnell-Harris. And my name is Diana Patton, and I am the founder of the Rise Advocates Academy and Rise with Diana. And our purpose of our conversation today is for you to get to know a little bit about Crystal and all of the many things that she does. She was already an advocate before the word advocate became a word advocate, but I want you to get to know her and I want you to understand all the things she learned about this class, but then what she is doing with it. So, Crystal, please let us know a little bit about you, what you do, not just what you do right now for the Board of Commissioners, but what you did in all of the other things in your life. And just let us know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so good morning. Good morning. Again, it's just great to be here. Feeling good, today, the on this New Year's Eve,
Yes.
where and so and again, as Diana stated, right now I'm the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is a passion, of mine. When we talk about you know, quality and access and education and support, and so all of those things have always been in my wheelhouse that I'm really care about. And a lot of it comes from just my own background and things that I've learned along the way, why this work is so important to me. And prior to that, I worked for 20 years for the YMCA, and I did youth development, programming and development, and I worked with young people and supporting them to graduate from high school and everything else in between. Dealing with just some of the emotional issues or just lack of resources, or and just trauma and all of those things that create barriers just for our young people when they don't have just the right support. And
Right.
and even working with their parents, and it's tough when we have parents of the youth I was working with. I discovered that they need help and they need
Yes.
support. So it's not about blaming and where's the parents? Well, you know what? Some of our parents need support too, because again, it's not easy, especially when you're always dealing with, just again, just the lack of resources.
Right.
And so that was and I've done, so much. I'm also a consultant, and so I work and I do workshops around addressing racism, sexism, and then how to work with youth, how to build relationships, how to develop youth programming, and how do we get engaged and stay engaged on the journey. And because again, it can be really, really tough. So just all of those things, just advocating for those, being a voice for those that may not have a voice or may not have a seat at the table, and
Right.
how can I be that
Mm-hmm.
person? And
Mm.
and so that's what my whole foundation is built on, is how can I be a servant
Mm-hmm.
um to those. And so yeah, and then how do I, more importantly though, how do I get out of my own way?
Now that is the
Yes.
question, now isn't it?
Hmm.
So, Crystal, I feel like you are just so my ideal person. You are the person that I dream of working with because you're such a powerful force of energy, right?
Hmm.
And you and I come from very difficult circumstances,
Hmm.
without which, however, I will say, we would not be who we are. But could
Yes.
you, for the audience here, this and for those who will be watching this recording,
Hmm.
share a little bit about what is it that drove you to be so concerned about the youth for 20 years? And now, of course, being that person, I'm going to help you get the seat at the table. Because when I was fill in the blank, I want you to share a little bit of your story and I want you
Yeah.
to be able to kind of give people the why behind what you do.
So the why, wow. Sometimes I get emotional when I tell my story because, again, like you stated, Diana, it really allowed me to be the person that I am today.
Yes, of
And
course.
so just growing up in poverty, growing up, with a single mom,
Mhm.
being the oldest girl in my family, out of the six siblings that I had. And it was really a difficult in my upbringing, even though there were really happy times, because my mom, was the bomb. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't even know when I think about how she made it
Hmm.
happen.
Right.
In hindsight, it really blows my mind because she only had a sixth grade education.
Hmm.
Um, it didn't have a lot of resources, but she raised us and she showed us love and she made things happen. And
Mhm.
so again,
And a
putting
dollar
her,
out of 15 cents.
yes, and she did. And but in all of that, there were periods in time of my life where, when we talk about, just kind of starting out, let's start with just education. Before I graduated from elementary school, I attended 5 different schools.
Hmm.
And so my education was fragmented in a sense where, um, when I, got to junior high, I was labeled with a learning disability,
Hmm.
not because I didn't have the ability to learn. It's because, again, just the things that had experienced in my life and the inconsistency and the instability,
Right.
um, that as a young girl just experiencing and didn't know how to manage it and didn't really have people in my life that was stable enough. Not
Right.
that I didn't have people that cared, but just wasn't stable enough to have the information on how to guide me through
So
just the
good.
trauma
Mm.
that I was feeling. And the reason why I just love working with young people, because the young women that I work with, Diana, there was a time in my life I was lost.
Mhm.
I was lost. I was confused. I felt alone. I felt suicidal. I remember taking pills and wanted to die because I just felt so, I just felt lost and I didn't know what to do. And so, and as I became an adult, the church was the thing that saved me. One thing, if we didn't go a lot of places, but one thing we did,
We was in church.
we went to church. But even more importantly, I remember me and my siblings sitting on my mom's bed, and she has the Bible open, and we're just talking for hours about just how, God and the love of Jesus Christ and how he died for us and having hope. And so I knew that even though I was in this place of of hardship and in isolation at times, and I knew there was something bigger than me. There was something
Yes.
outside of that
Yes.
experience, that place where I was,
Mhm.
that was waiting for me. I don't know. There was just something in my spirit that
Mhm.
I knew there was something bigger and better that was waiting for me. But
That's
it didn't mean that I took it and internalized it and I started to make different decisions in my life as a result of feeling that.
mhm.
I still went through my teenage years, struggling, and so when I look at the young people, what drives me is that I see myself. I
Mhm.
see myself in them. And
Mhm.
I made a commitment that
Mhm.
if to be that person
Mhm.
that I needed in my life that I didn't have, I want to be that person for
Mm.
them.
Mm.
And that's what motivates me and drives me, in working with young people. And I
Crystal,
still love it.
I I just feel that energy, and I've always known that about you because we know each other from 15 years ago when
Yeah.
we connected through the Ben Williams program back in 2006.
Yeah.
And I came to your place at the YMCA, and
Mhm.
I just knew that you were so committed. The word that I just wrote down was commitment. And I've long known you to be that committed advocate, the one that is going to see. I believe when you are that committed advocate, there's no such
Mhm.
thing as clocking in or clocking out. There is
Right.
just being the advocate. And I want to say publicly thank you, because I know how hard that is. But then waiting in the trauma, WADING, waiting in the trauma is something I believe we as these professional women have had to unlearn, right?
Mhm.
And you've been learning to unlearn some of those things. Tell me about some of those unlearnings that you have begun to do in your life. And I know we talk a lot about that in the Rise
Yeah.
Academy, but share with us, what are some of the unlearnings that you've had to do as you have been progressing through the life of Crystal?
Yeah, so there was a lot of number one of discovery, awareness, and then unlearning the dysfunction or the scripts that I have
Mm,
internalized as my truth.
yes.
And
Ooh,
so number one,
number
it was
one.
yeah, it's number one is just my, the trauma of being feeling, the trauma of questioning my decisions and my thought
Right.
process. When I was labeled, that
Yes.
really threw a wrench, and how I saw myself, and just believing in my own ideas, in the choices that I made. And I had struggled with that,
Mhm,
where I doubted myself all the time. And
mhm.
as a result of that, it really um, caused me to experience a lot of anxiety. So
Yes.
I'm just anxious about everything.
Mhm,
I and then, which is all grounded in fear.
mhm.
So it was the fear of um wanting to do all these things. Okay, so I'm feeling all this energy and all
Right.
these things and the vision, but at the same time living in fear of being found out that
Mm,
you're not supposed to even be in the room. You're
mm,
not. I'm fighting this. This is
mm,
they're gonna find out that you're really not smart.
mm,
And so I was terrified of making mistakes. I was I was waiting for a validation from other
mm.
people. And that validation, it doesn't matter who it was from, that
Right.
validation just carried
Right.
so much weight. Okay, so because I did not believe and trust my own thinking. And so
Mm,
that was one thing that I had to dismantle,
mhm.
that I am smart. I am, Carrie, I am creative. And I had to learn those things, and stop allowing other people to speak um, negativity into my space, because I did.
Yeah.
And so those are just some of the things that I had to unlearn. And then with that, the anxiety.
Mm,
I was constantly, there was times I couldn't sleep. I was constantly worrying.
mhm.
And I finally, when I went through the Rise Advocate, I was really able to sit down in it
Mm.
and look at how it was manifesting in my life, and how it was affecting my other relationships, on how I was showing up in the world. And I
Girl,
didn't
why am I over here like, because I just wrote down like a page of things you said. And
yeah.
like what this is why it is so important
Mhm.
for people to hear you. Because when
Yeah.
people see you, they don't see that, right?
Mhm.
They see you as Crystal. She is out there killing it,
Mhm.
right? And you sitting there like, this is killing me softly with this song right here called, listening to other people share, and they have no relevance in your life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Waiting for validation. And you said it didn't matter who it came from.
Mm-mm.
You
It
just
didn't.
were fiending for it.
Yes. Yes. And I allow people, and because of that trauma, I allow people I was carrying other people's crap.
Mm.
I was carrying other people's insecurity.
Hashtag
You
stop
know,
carrying other people's crap.
yes. And
Mm.
so, and I found myself, um, wanted to be, wanting to be liked and wanted to be, so I was doing things that didn't make sense. And
Mhm.
I was tired. I
Yes.
was exhausted.
Mhm.
And I was losing focus on what was important to me personally, because there, in my head, it was more important that I make somebody else make sure that they were safe, they were comfortable, they were okay. And if you're not, you're going to be okay sooner or later. Don't worry about yourself right now. Just make sure that they're okay.
They're okay.
And I kept saying, well, I can endure the pain. I can take it, you
Mhm.
know.
Right.
And I created that in
Right.
order to continue to walk in this again, in this dysfunction that
Mhm.
I had internalized as my truth.
Mhm.
And I I was exhausted,
Right.
I'm going home at night, and I'm sitting there like, Crystal, what are you doing?
Mhm.
I journal every day.
Mhm.
I've been journal, and sometimes I can go back 20 years and read
Wow.
stuff that I've written. And I remember when I came to a crossroad, and this was, and I was making some decisions in my life because I was just miserable.
Yes.
I was busy. I was busy.
Of
I was
course.
wake up in the morning. I was like busy doing stuff. But then at the end of the day, I come home and I'm getting ready for bed. I'm just exhausted. And I'm asking myself, so what did you do today?
Mm.
I'm trying to write, like, what did you accomplish? And I would just sit there holding my journal with my pen,
Mm.
don't know what to write,
Mm.
because I just felt empty, that I was
Yeah.
just busy with
Yeah.
nothing.
Busy with nothing. Isn't that,
Yeah.
we were talking about that being such the plague that is
Mhm.
the dis-ease, is the spirit of busyness with the result of nothingness. When
Yeah.
we really don't come, we aren't about the business of Crystal and living out her mission. So let me
Mhm.
ask you this: when you saw the advertisement, because we've been together now for 2 Rise Advocates Academies, when you first saw that, what was going through your head and what made you go, I need to check this out? What was it?
Yeah. So when I saw it, how I was still, you know, in my busyness,
Mhm.
and I saw it and I said, I need to sign up for this. And it was in the back of my mind. And I know that I don't believe that things just happen by happenstance. I believe that,
Yes.
things happen by design. And I was taking care of my mom because my
Yes.
mom was really sick. So I was her primary, caretaker, and we was transitioning, we're still with this pandemic, and I was just feeling overwhelmed. And I remember coming out of the store, sitting in my car, and then you called and said,
Mm.
hey, Crystal, what you doing? And I'm like, hey, Diana, because I'm always, really excited to hear from you. He said, so you haven't signed up. Are you going to sign up? Because I told you I was going to sign up, right?
Yeah.
Which, and so he says, okay, so are you signing up? What are we going to do?
Yes.
And I said, I'm going to sign up right now. Before I got my car,
Get
I
out of
got
this
on the,
parking lot.
before I got out the parking lot, I said, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to do it.
Mhm.
And I signed up because I knew, number one, something was just drawing me to this. It was drawing me to you, and I knew that I needed something. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to ask for, but I knew that I needed something, and
Mhm.
I believed that this was it. And,
Mhm.
and of course, I just love your energy, and it's just so positive. So that's how I signed up,
Yeah.
and because I just got tired of feeling that like I said, that I felt like I was standing in a doorway,
Mm.
and I felt like I was just standing there, but I wasn't walking through.
Yes.
And that's what it felt like. I wasn't walking through it, but I felt like I was stuck.
I can see so many people relating to exactly what
Mhm.
you said. I mean, I want us all, as we're listening to this recording, I want you to think about that in your life, because oftentimes it's like that dream where you feel like you're trying to move, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe most people see that door of opportunity, but they have realized, as we learned in the class, that they can't get past that upper limit. They really stop themselves before they edit themselves, right? They
Yes.
stop themselves before they could even get to the doorknob, but they're just standing there staring at it
Mm-hmm.
like a scene from the Matrix where their mouth is just like, they
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. So
Yeah.
Kristen, that was powerful. Now, when you entered into the class, I want you to share with people, because some people might be intimidated, like, this is a lot of material, I can't get through it all.
Mm-hmm.
But what were the things that we were sharing with you that gave you a sense of peace, that you are exactly where you need to be as you are traveling through this program?
Yeah. I tell you, the one thing that really struck me to my core, that really allowed me to start dismantling just some of the scripts and being able to see my life just through a different lens,
Mm.
was when you made the statement, what you are seeking is seeking you.
Yes.
Because it reflected on that, again, that feeling of being stuck in that doorway.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted something different. I just didn't know what.
Right.
And then I didn't know what I wanted to create in this space because I felt so bogged down
Mhm.
with just old stuff
Mhm.
of fear and anxiety and being overwhelmed and this illness of busyness, and restlessness.
Yes.
And so when you said that, I went and wrote it on my mirror,
Mhm.
because I have a mirror in my office, and I wrote it, and I just and and that really hit me
Right.
because I know that there was something else for me. This wasn't it. I
Mhm.
knew this wasn't it, but I was scared to move past the doorway
Mm.
because I didn't know where the door was going to lead.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so
We
that
want to know
fear,
what's on the other side.
yeah, what's on the other side? Because I don't know. I know what this feels like, even though
Right.
it's like hard and it's miserable and I'm uncomfortable, but at least I know how to manage
And it
it.
did.
But I didn't know how to manage that. I
Right.
didn't even know what was possible.
Mm.
I couldn't even imagine
Mm.
what was even possible on the other side of
Mhm.
the door.
Girl.
And when I began to go through your class
Mm.
and we began to talk about what wolf are you feeding?
Mm. Chills.
And I remember writing in my journal, I'm feeding the fear, I'm
Mm.
feeding the doubt, I'm
Mm.
feeding the unworthiness
Mm.
that I was feeling. I'm feeling the old scripts that I have to take care of everybody else,
Right.
that I was secondary.
Mm.
And I wrote I'm feeding all of this. And
Yeah.
it was like, I almost took the book and just threw it on the other side of the room. Like,
Girl,
what
don't
the?
you want to do that? I don't even
I
want to
was,
do it.
yeah. And I did. And I said, what the HE double hockey sticks? Because I was like, I was like, this is what, this is what you're feeding. And
Mm.
then over here, you want peace and
Yeah.
joy and
Right.
purpose and wisdom and love and fulfillment. And I wasn't feeding any of those. I'm
Right.
feeding this. So that was another
Mm.
place in my thought process where I began to transition
Mm.
out of the doorway.
Yes.
I would begin to take a step
Mm-hmm.
through the doorway.
Amen. And that's what we talk about. Just take a
Yes.
step.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe it 100%. I love it when my friend and business coach, Jen Gottlieb, she says, you don't have to believe it 100%, just
Mhm.
51%. Can you
Yeah.
get to 50? Just believe it 51%. And then
Yeah.
take that small step. And as you did, Crystal, when you're going through a difficult time, which you know this, I am very public about my issue I had when I was going after the class. Y'all was getting to another place, and I was going, I'm going down. I'm going down. You know, like
I'm going
I
down.
know, right? I'm going down. Yes. And I was going down, and all I could do was show the freak up. So, what I tell people all the time, if all you can do is stand, stand. And that is exactly what you did, Crystal, because you said, girl, I ain't got anything else but just to be here. And that was good enough. And I just want to share that for people who are just struggling. Find some group, find somebody just to be proximate to them. Look, we're going to keep singing because y'all didn't know Crystal sang. Well, she's saying, just to be close to you. Sing it. Yeah. Yes. Just for a minute, just for an hour. So, anyways, just to get close to people is really important because you want to be around people who are doing better things, you're not the smartest person in the room. I want to be around people who are elevating and up leveling. And that's exactly what we were doing. So you said it was the which wolf are you feeding exercise that gave you some gumption to get going. And so from this class, you shifted.
Absolutely.
So tell us about that shift. What did you begin to do? And then where are you now?
Yeah. So I began to shift. I began to change just, what I became aware because the shift didn't happen like, boom.
Right.
I read something and saw rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
but but it was a process because I began, number one, I began to reading some of the reading material that you recommend. And so I read The Big Leap, and I began to read some of those other books and listening to podcasts. And I always was a reader. And so, but I began to really take a deeper dive into what I was doing on a daily basis. One of the other things that really struck me that I was able to kind of begin to make that transition is, what is your perfect day? Writing out, what's your perfect day? If I could write out the perfect day, what would it look like? Right. And so, I get up in the morning and I begin to meditate and pray. And says, God, what is my perfect day? What do I want to happen today? And it's not running around crazy with a chicken, with my head cut off. That's not my perfect day, which I did on so many. For years, I was doing that.
Right.
I don't want to run around taking care of everyone else but myself. I've done that. So what's and I began to meditate and focus and write and create. What does my perfect day look like? And as a result, I began to start working out in the morning because that was my routine for a long time, and I got away from it, And so I started, working out. I started meditating and praying more, and that was a piece of it to center me. I started to challenge the thoughts in my head, those dysfunctional scripts. You should be, you're gonna be late. And I had to say, because and because I can manage my time. I had to tell myself I can manage my time. So it's just a matter of when that stuff comes up, those old scripts that keeps you in a place where you don't feel like you're being your authentic self. That was another thing that really, that I really thought about, is what parts of myself am I hiding?
Right. Yeah.
Because I just don't know how to be. And I feared judgment. I feared, because of the mistakes that I've made, man, did I beat myself up. I would reflect back and they would come up, and the mistakes that I made, the things that I've done, and I'm just like giving myself the once over, every couple of days. And it was like, but I did the best I could based on the information I had at the time. Now I got new information. And so now I'm able and transition out of that space. So it started in my mind.
Mhm.
It started me talking to that voice
Mhm.
that was there to sabotage,
Mhm.
my happiness, my joy, my peace,
Mhm.
my purpose, and creating new affirmations that will allow me to be the right wolf. And
Yes.
when I began to do that, and so I'm back on my routine.
Yes.
I'm a little calmer. I don't feel like I gotta jump up every morning
Right.
because I forgot or I fear that something's happening or I dropped the
Right.
ball and I'm just
Speak
waiting
that truth.
to get that text to say. And I was like, so sometimes I'm still, habits
Of
are
course.
hard to break, but I am more aware of
Mhm.
what I'm thinking about
Yes.
now, instead of just allowing my environment or my emotions to drive me.
Yes.
Now I'm driving my emotions and I'm deciding how I'm going to feel.
I love all of that, Crystal, and it's just so good. I can't wait for people to hear this.
Yeah.
And you decided, I'm going to apply for that job and I'm going to get that job, right?
Yes.
You decided, I'm going to start this initiative and I'm going to do this initiative. Tell us about that job and that initiative.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a big shift for me.
Mhm.
And, because, I wanted to do something different, not that I didn't love what I was doing, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted just to have a bigger impact.
Yes.
And and this job came up and I was reading and I was looking, I was like, oh, God, can I do this? I was
Yes.
like, am I ready?
Mhm.
And even when I was applying for the anxiety was just like,
Yes.
are you sure you're ready? You don't know what it's gonna be like,
That door.
you got 5 weeks of vacation, over here, just those those things. And because of what I was able to unpack
Yes.
during the Rise Advocate, going through your your class, that I was able to be bold. I
Mm.
wanted to be bold.
Oh, girl.
And I think that I would not have applied had I not gone through the Rise Advocate, because it gave me a different lens where I was begin
Yeah.
to kind of see myself, dismantle the old dysfunctional lies
Come through.
that I have internalized all my life. It just
Oh, yeah.
all my life. I've
Mhm.
been carrying these things, and I decided I'm not feeding the wolf anymore.
That's
I'm
right.
not doing it anymore. And so I applied,
I know that's right. I
and
know that's
now
right.
I'm here and I'm learning and I'm
Yes.
experiencing
Yes.
something new and different.
Mm.
And I'm just so grateful
Mm.
right now. Just, gosh, okay. I'm a crybaby, right?
Come on, cry, baby girl. Cry.
But you know
Okay.
what? I don't think like 2 years ago, I don't think
Mm.
I would be here, because of, I was just felt so, just parts of me just felt really broken.
Yes.
Parts of me, and I just kind of start. I'm not all the way there. I mean, there's days I still get up and like, oh, but once I just found that one of the things that came up for me, that I began yearning for my future self. I
Mm.
began yearning for that, for that person
Mm.
that I know that I can be. I
Mm.
know there was more to me, that because anxiety didn't define me, anger didn't define me, and all the things that people have told me did not define me.
That's right.
And I was carrying that. And so be able to create a new script for yourself,
Mhm.
to know that you are worthy, that
Mhm.
people, I remember I was praying and meditating, and it came up for me where people are waiting for me to
Yeah.
get my act together. They're waiting for me to walk through that doorway
Yes.
so I can help them to walk through the doorway.
Yes.
And I really feel that. you
Yeah.
know, and that's why, okay, I get some tissue.
It's some tissue, girl.
Character, I got some tissue. I always keep tissue. But
Yeah.
you know, I really feel that others are walking, young women are waiting
Yes, they are.
for me. And I want to show up
Mm,
powerful
mm,
and decisive
mhm.
and intentional. I want to be intentional with my, you know, just with my choices and, you know, my actions, because I don't want to leave this earth
Yes.
without fulfilling my full purpose.
Mm,
Oh gosh, what the reason why God created me, I want to fulfill my whole purpose.
yes.
I want to live my whole self
Mm,
and expressing that without feeling like, oh, she kind of over the top.
mhm.
Oh, she, you know, she doing too much. Oh, you know, she needs to bring it down a couple of notches. And I've heard all this. Oh, she talked too much. Oh, that don't even make sense. Oh, I mean, and I let that define how I moved and how I show up. And so going through this and putting attention on it,
Yes.
that because I was so busy, I never sat and put attention on why certain things were showing up in my life that I did not want to show up. And they just kept coming for me.
Yes.
And I realized I was inviting that in.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeding that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is, so again, this has been life changing, you know, for me, because again, I have been fighting this battle for a long time and I didn't know what weapons to use.
Mm.
Now, now I know I can identify the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I can identify the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know how I need to speak to that.
Yes. Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I just want to be free.
Yes.
Just want to be
You are,
free.
oh my gosh, Crystal, you are the most beautiful, bold, brilliant person. I feel like there's just people that you meet and then you go, man, I would love to have you over to my mansion when we get to heaven.
Oh,
Like we're gonna have so much fun, but we are already living it now, and that's the beautiful part is that people who've come from our past who live in church, right? We don't have to wait for that. I mean, glory is going to be glory. It's going to be a beautiful place. But why can't we
yes.
do that now? Why can't
Yeah.
we live that now, living life to the full? So, Crystal, you live life to the full, and you are that bold, courageous person. And I'm so glad that you are now a certified rights advocate and that we are journeying together
Woo-hoo.
in life. Yes, as a Rise Advocates member, tell us what's next for you. What do you see for yourself that you are continuing opening that door of opportunity? Because now you like, now you ain't screwed. You already know what's going to be beyond that. It's going to be beyond your wildest dreams because there's so much living for you to do, Crystal. What is it
Yeah.
that you see? Maybe one or two things that you see for yourself that you might want to publicly declare that ain't even happening right now, but you know, because you said it when you was a little girl, when your mama was reading the baby, mama was reading the Bible on the bed, you knew there was something more, and there continues to be something more. So what is it? Go ahead
Oh,
and say it. You
I
loud.
want, yeah, I definitely want to, this light in my head, I'm trying to move around. Do you
Oh,
see
it's
it?
okay. It's
Okay,
okay.
it's okay.
But it's you just glow through it.
Yeah, I just, so I do want to write a book.
Yes, you do.
I want to, so this big dream, so I want to,
Speak it.
I definitely want to write a book, but I want to be able to serve my community in a bigger way. I want to
Yeah.
do something around teaching young people around investments. I want
Mm.
to do an investment club for young people and how to build generational wealth.
Ooh.
And so that's one of the things I would love to do. I would love to expand my consulting business where I have bigger platforms that I can speak and talk about my journey and share with some of my tools and techniques of what I've overcome in order to get, you know, to experience the kind of peace and joy that is possible for everyone.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
no matter what we've been through. And
Yes.
so I want to start my own business. I want to grow
Yeah.
my consulting business. I want to, write a book. I want to just have a bigger platform,
Yes. I
and
already see
and
that.
start, yeah, and give back in a bigger way.
Yes.
Start a foundation.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
this
love
is
that. Crystal, I see all that for you. Isn't it great? Because it's so important. I was talking about that in our morning rise this morning in the Rise Advocates group, is I was talking about being in community allows you to be able to have people pour into you on a consistent basis on what they see you doing. And they see you doing it because sometimes when we're in it and we allow those wolves to kind of devour us, but what we see, what other people see usually is what God sees, right? Is we just say, oh
yes.
my gosh, there's so much, Crystal. I mean, not only could you be an international singer, but you could also be this amazing consultant, which I already see, Crystal. You probably could go through all your 20 years of journals and your book is done. Right. And so, really, what it takes is exactly what you said earlier. And I just want to harken back to the word that you said earlier. You said so many profound nuggets today that I can't wait to chop this video up and share it with everyone. But you said commitment.
Mhm.
And that is what I'm going to encourage you to do as we end this interview is your words of encouragement. There's no wonder why so many women want to be around you, because everything that you just shared was so profound and breathtaking that I'm writing all these notes, right? That
Okay.
you have I see this all the time with you. But sometimes we do get in our own way, but that's why we have community. And so I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for this amazing and nourishing and life giving interview that I so believe in you, Crystal, that you are the biggest, boldest, brightest star. The light shines so brightly and it illuminates around you that I want to continue to let you know that you are a beautiful rising advocate, a certified rise advocate. And I'm so grateful for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it,
Yes.
Diana. And I just thank for just everything that you do and what you pour into me,
Mm,
as well as others, because it has really changed my life.
mm.
It really has, and which will give me the courage, and the foresight and the insight to be who God created me to be.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to you for that phone call in
Yes.
that parking lot.
Mm.
Say, where you at?
Where you
Stop
at?
playing. What you
Girl, where you
doing?
at? Where you at?
Doing.
Where you
Yeah,
going? Where
right.
you at? And you got friends.
Right.
How about that? I don't even
Right.
know if the words are right. But anyways, it is by the time of this recording, it is December 2020. It is December 30th, 2021. And how about this, Crystal? You and I get reunited in December of 2022. And let's do another interview and let's talk about what we've begun to live out. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm going to encourage you to watch this interview of your amazing self after this. So sometimes we need to see ourselves and go, wow, I said that. Yes, you did. You dropped a bomb on all of us and it was amazing. And so thank you so much, Crystal. And thank you to everyone who's watching this interview. And if you want to follow Crystal, she's on Instagram, right?
I am on Instagram and Facebook.
And Facebook. Follow her. And also, if you're interested in the Rise Advocates Academy, just go to riseadvocates.com. And we actually have a self study. You can do this on your own with the support of the group or group. We have a private group, Facebook page. Or if you would like to do like this, you'd like to have more of a group session, those sessions start in January of 2022. But this recording is going to be in perpetuity. So definitely go to riseadvocates.com to figure out when the next session is going for you. We are so grateful for you. And if you just need community, it's like, Diana, I just need community right now. Then you can sign up to become a tier 1 Rise Advocate. And all you have to do is just email me at diana@dianarpatton.com. That's Diana@dianarpatton.com. And we'll get you all set up. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful, blessed day.